Well, a little more than 3 weeks after Hurricane Dorian touched down in the Bahamas, a team of morticians who were among the first at Ground Zero in Abaco are giving some insight on the situation on the ground there. A team from Evergreen Mortuary, Emerald Memorial Mortuary, and Bethel Brothers Morticians were part of the recovery team on the devastated island. Just a few funerals have been held for those who lost their lives in the storm, and with many of the dead yet to be identified and many more still missing, the morticians say the process must move along faster in order to give families closure. Here's Cleopatra Murphy.
They work in the business of death, but for morticians Denley Penn Mackey and Wendell Dean II, the death and devastation brought on by the Category 5 megastorm Hurricane Dorian is something neither was prepared for. Penn Mackey, the proprietor of Evergreen Mortuary, says the stench of death was strong and bodies were everywhere trapped under debris. She says the situation on Abaco was chaotic, something she and a team of morticians on the island attempting to recover unprocessed bodies tried to bring order to.
There were a few persons that were in the morgue facilities there, and there were also some bodies that were placed in body bags on the floor and also on the processing table in the prep room. Inside the morgue facility, and they were badly decomposed, and they really shouldn't have been in there.
Nearly 3 weeks after Hurricane Dorian, the official death count for Abaco and Grand Bahama remains at 53, and while Penn Mackey says those numbers will undoubtedly go up, she feels there are many bodies officials have not been able to recover because of the lack of heavy-duty equipment to remove debris. Dean, the funeral director at Emerald Memorial Mortuary, says the number of bodies morticians processed on Abaco was in the mid-30s. He expects, like Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, years from now, there will still be bodies being recovered. Still, he says due to the storm surge on Abaco and Grand Bahama, many bodies may never be found.
I think at the end of the day, based on the number of persons who would have gone in and said that my loved one is missing, they may be able to conclude from those numbers as to what the death toll may or may not be.
The mortician says the slowness of the identification process is causing concern among people looking for loved ones. He says officials must speed up identification for bodies that have been processed to provide closure.
They need to invite persons to come in to take DNA samples from them so that they can begin the processing of the DNA testing and then call those persons back in once they would have confirmed those tests.
While the devastation and loss of life from Hurricane Dorian can be seen as profits for funeral homes and morticians, Penn Mackey says for her, Dorian's aftermath is painful.
It's more emotional for me than looking at it, for compensation. Because the truth be told, a few of the services that I would have rendered, they would have been completely free of charge. All right? And for the devastation, I can't begin to comprehend it because, I'm a native of Abaco. And there is nothing when you land in Marsh Harbor that tells you that you can identify that it's Marsh Harbor because everything has been utterly destroyed.
Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.